Hi, friends. So, big realization today that I wanted to share. Forgiveness is absolutely positively necessary in order to end generational trauma, right? The whole foundation of generational trauma is that it's generational, right? It's passed down from one group of people to the next. And what I did not realize literally until today, like when I say today, I mean like a couple hours ago, what I did not realize is how holding on to unforgiveness keeps that cycle going. It keeps the chain intact, right? If you don't forgive and you still have hatred in your heart, you still have ill feelings in your heart, you still have any tinge of, negativity or emotional debris, really, that is connected to that wound, that is connected to the mother wound or the father wound and those foundational wounds, you're holding on to it. You still have it within you. And when you have a kid, you then pass that down. Even if you don't treat your child the same way that you were treated, right? The fact that you still have that emotional sentiment within you means that it's transferring. That was what I didn't get about needing to forgive, right? And then a lot of people talk about this. Obviously, this is not like some groundbreaking idea that's uniquely mine and no one has ever spoken about before. A lot of people talk about forgiveness being necessary to move forward, to truly move forward. And I never got it. I never got it. I never got why we needed to forgive in order to truly like free ourselves and get beyond. And yeah, like the light bulb went off today. I've had an experience over the last couple of weeks, months even, honestly, where God was really showing me and trying to help me to understand exactly that, trying to help me to understand why forgiveness is important. And so, yeah, when you think about generational trauma, like anything that you hold on to from an emotional perspective, from a spiritual perspective, right? And that's the really deep part, the spiritual nature of it, right? When your spirit is not at rest, if you haven't forgiven, if you haven't released negative energy, if you don't have a heart that is as light as a feather, then your spirit is stirred up by that. And so when you look at it from that perspective, right, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if you're still holding on to something, naturally you pass that down to the next generation. When you have a kid, even if you don't treat your child the same way you were treated, you might be a better parent in action, right? You might be a better parent in words, you might be a better parent in everything you do. But it's the how can I put it? It's the invisible um the invisible hatred. It's the invisible negativity that you push forward, right? Everything is energy. Everything is energy. Everything is spiritually rooted before it's physical. And so you may not have something showing up in the physical, but it's absolutely positively there, right? It's absolutely positively present. It's like the wind. We can feel it. We don't see it. We know that it exists. And so, yeah, man, like really, really big breakthrough for me because I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. It was just kind of like, well, I am over this thing and I don't necessarily allow it to bother me anymore, and I'm learning how to prevent it from controlling my actions and controlling my thoughts. But I haven't fully released it, right? And I think people know what I'm talking about, where it's like kind of what I just said, where you may not let something control your actions, you may not let something control your thoughts, right? You have enough awareness to not allow it to do that. But there's still this like resentment that's present. There's still this sense of like you're not over it, you know? You know what I'm talking about when you like you see a person and you have to be cordial with them, but you don't really want to be bothered with them, because you haven't gotten over it. You know that lingering negative emotion is still there, even if it's super subtle, right? Super subtle, where it's just like, I don't even want to be around this person. I don't even want to be in this person's presence. What I'm realizing is if you can't show genuine love, right? You don't have to be a person's best friend, but if you can't from the bottom of your heart show, genuine love for a person and have genuine compassion for a person, after there's been an issue and something has taken place, that you didn't like or approve, or harm was done to you, you haven't truly forgiven. You haven't truly forgiveness. The proof of the forgiveness is that there's no debris left that is connected to whatever happened. Literally, like, you love that person the same way you love someone who's done you right. You have compassion for that person the same way you have compassion for someone who's done you right. And even more compassion, actually. You have more compassion for them because you realize why they did what they did. You realize why they are who they are. And yeah, man, like this was huge for me. This was huge, because I'm really big on ending generational cycles. And when I look at it, right, when I look at the women in my family who have mother wound, it's exactly what I was just explaining, where like they might have been in communication with their mothers. They might have, not been separate from their mothers. But that sense of she did me wrong and I'm not over it was still present. Like, I think I shared this, that my father's mother, literally in her 80s, was still talking about, what her mother hadn't done for her. And I've heard my mother make comments as well, about what she didn't have. And that was what inspired me to want to heal, because I didn't want that to be my life. I didn't want that to be my path. I didn't want to be, 60 years old, 80 years old, still held hostage by something that happened in my childhood. And so, yeah, like it's so necessary. It's so necessary in order to break the cycle, in order to rip that chain apart, in order to release the stronghold, in order to break the yokes. You have to find true forgiveness within your heart and within your soul. You have to really be free of it. And I hope the way I explain that makes sense when I say that, like, the negative charges and the negative energy and the subtle resentment and the uncomfortability you just might have with the person after whatever has happened, like, if any of that is still present, you haven't forgiven. If you can't approach them and just want to give them love, want to give them a hug, want to send positive energy their way, right? Want to see them do well, genuinely. Want to see them even overcome what it is that is a problem for them, then you haven't forgiven and there's still work to do. And what I can say about forgiveness for me is God has really helped me to see my own flaws. God has really helped me to see the errors of my own ways, right? All the ways that I'm, not a perfect human being, all of the mistakes that I have made, and how He's been forgiven with me. I've been forgiven of so many things, and so who am I really to say that I'm not going to forgive the next person? What grounds do I have is really the realization I came to. Like, what grounds do I have to say, like, oh, I'm not forgiving you for what you did, and here I am, yet, waking up every day making mistakes, living in error myself, and being forgiven for it. And so this is part one. I want to come back with more because I think there's more to be said, but yeah, I think this is a good start to recognizing why when we talk about healing, right? When we talk about healing, when we talk about ending generational curses and ending generational trauma, that forgiveness absolutely, positively has to be a part of it.